Throwdown Nation. It's Matt, and we are back with episode 6 of the Throwdown with Matt. Tonight, it is my distinct pleasure to have with me as my guest, Dre the Goat. Man, I have seen this young man wrestle. Had the opportunity a couple of weeks ago at the PWE show out in Augusta, Georgia. And man, he just lights the place up. So what I'm going to do before I bring Dre in is I'm going to actually play his entrance video so that those of you that aren't familiar with him can get a little taste. So here we go. Dre, my
What's
man,
going on, man?
how are you, sir? Like
You know
I
what I'm
said
saying?
before we went
A1 like
live, man,
steak
I've
sauce.
been awesome.
It's a little bit of
But
delay.
yeah, like I said, yeah, I think we are getting a little bit of delay in here.
Well, so about that video, actually, that video was made by one of my fellow classmates of the Palmetto Wrestling Academy, Linnaeus Peachers. I don't know what he's gonna end up going by whenever he decides to graduate. Well, not really decides to graduate, but whenever he completes the program and stuff. But he made that a few years ago. That was before I made my debut. But it's funny because I haven't seen that video in like almost a year and a half now.
Really?
Yeah, and it was actually pretty funny to see that video, and I was like, wow, that is crazy to see how far I've come. And the crazy part about it, I've hit a lot of those moves, and like the only difference between that clip in real life is in real life I do a whole lot more dancing. I'm usually dancing, cutting a flip or something, jumping off of
Nice.
something. That's usually how I usually roll. But
Yeah, I've definitely noticed. Looking at some of your matches on YouTube and such, you're definitely a high flyer.
oh, most definitely. Like honestly, it's great that I was able to turn my childhood antics into a career path, because you can ask anyone in my family, I was always the jump off of it kid. Anytime I see something, I'm probably gonna cut a flip off of it. If there's a trampoline, better believe that yeah, there's gonna be wrestling matches, flips, all that, and we're gonna get
Gotcha.
hurt.
Oh yeah. Yep. So anyway, we'll go ahead and get into the topics at hand here. And the first and most obvious question, Dre, is how long have you been wrestling?
Okay, so I started training at the Palmetto Wrestling Academy February 17th of 2021. and I train there. I still currently train there. I made my pro wrestling debut October 14th of 2023. So I've been wrestling just over a little under 7 months, a little over 7 months. I made my debut, and as of yesterday, I just had match number 29.
Nice, nice. So the next question's going to be who trained you, but it sounds like you're one of Ethan Case's kids.
Oh, most definitely. L's up. Ethan Case
Yeah,
is honestly one of the most genuinely good human beings I have ever met in my life. And I am so glad that I had the opportunity and was in a position to find the PWA and be able to do what most people are never able to, and chase their dreams and make it a reality. Because we've since dubbed the academy the Star Lab, because Ethan Case is the star maker. He Anything he touches, everybody he's trained since has gone to do great things, whether it be in the ring as a ref, as a worker, behind the scenes as a production agent, producing. Like, he produces stars not only in the ring, but he we make good people, and that gets you a whole lot more in life, not even just in wrestling.
absolutely. It's funny. I was my last one of these. I had TJ Era on here, and he's also one of Ethan's kids.
Yes.
And I was telling him, um, interestingly enough, probably 8 or 9 years ago, my wife and I went out to dinner at a restaurant not far from where we live, and Ethan Case was our waiter that night.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and somehow the subject came up that he wrestled, and so I got his social media at the time, and I've been kind of loosely following his career since, and I saw that he opened the academy and everything, and I'm actually hoping to get Ethan on one of these sometime soon because I'd love to pick his brain. I
Almost
mean,
anything.
uh,
Like, you could have all of the guys from the PWA come on the show, but we couldn't tell you the way Ethan could tell you, because the way Ethan is able to like communicate and express himself, like he does it like nobody is. Like, he's really good at talking to people, and he's really good at making you feel what he's saying. And honestly, that's one of the things that's made him one of like the greatest coaches I've ever had, because I've played 4 or 5 sports my entire life. Well, football, basketball, soccer, and I accidentally won a state championship in track and field one time. It was crazy. But played soccer for 17 years, football for 11, and basketball for 12. And out of all the coaches I've had, Ethan definitely sticks out as one of, if not the greatest, like coach that I've had, that has been able to like figure out how I learn and figure out how each individual person learns, and that information is going to register with and make it stick. And be just that ability alone is like that's we need more people like that in the world.
absolutely, and to have that ability is a gift. It truly is. Um, so okay, speed round. Ricochet.
Will Osprey.
Yeah. I am looking forward to that resuming.
I just so recently rewatched their encounter at New Japan, and it's like you see that match and it was like, dang, that chemistry was just there from the get go.
Hmm.
Because I remember when I first saw that match, it was like I was watching two Power Rangers in
Yeah.
real life. It was like I was watching anime live action, and
Yeah.
I was like, who made these two? Who turned on the cheat codes and gave them low gravity.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and the thing that's cool is, you know, it looks likely that we're going to get to see those two hook it up again. And you know, it's been a few years, but man, they've just gotten better with age, and I am
Exactly.
excited to see,
Like to see
man.
what like, especially considering like the last time they saw each other, this was Will Ospreay before he had even became like like the big household name from New Japan and stuff. But when he went on that run, like the heavyweight run, all his championship accomplishments and stuff leading to him like eventually now what he's doing now at AEW, like he's been consistently doing like he's been doing it at the highest level, and Ricochet is like no different. Like he's been consistently putting on consistent performances for the company until like now he's like, well, I'm going somewhere else to do what I've been doing this whole time, and that's being the
Right.
one and only. And that's like,
Hmm.
and the just as like just the simple fact that people are already clamoring for like that like rematch, like for them to come back together and like have that like reunion match. That
Oh yeah.
that alone lets you know like the status of what these two mean to like so many people because like I mean Ricochet's been doing this more like doing this longer than Will Ospreay, but like even then, before I like knew who Ricochet was or Will Ospreay was, there were people that like I was looking at like, what is happening? Like, how did they do this? One mainly Jeff Hardy. He was always my guy. He was always my guy. It is
Yeah.
honestly, I if I had to say if why I'm wrestling for anything else, it's probably because of Jeff Hardy. If I had never saw him, I probably wouldn't have wanted to do this because seeing Jeff Hardy, I don't know what it did to me, but like it sparked something in me that just made me want to cut up socks and paint my face with year-old Halloween makeup and cut flips off the couch. And I did. I just fell in love with it, and it never really like became a reality, like a real thought of like of a possibility until like later on in my life because it was like, oh yeah, in my head I'm like, oh, I have to go to some other place other than South Carolina to go be trained by some big name guy in this other place and pray that the WWE has some connections out there and get there. I never knew anything about indie wrestling at the time. I knew nothing of independent wrestling. And like honestly, I didn't go to my first independent wrestling show until I started training at the Palmetto Wrestling Academy. And I thank the man upstairs for that every day because it literally it was like destiny. I was in college. I did a semester of college and I was like, this is horrible. I don't like this. I really do not like school at all. And I didn't know what I was going for. I was just going because like everybody told me I had to. And I was like, man, I'd rather put my energy and efforts into something I'd actually like do. So I was like, I'd be a pro wrestler. And I started thinking like, I'm gonna be a pro wrestler for real. And I started looking, wrestling school 10 minutes down the road. I'm like, are you serious? This is a sign. I have to go. And I've been going ever since. Best thing I could have ever done
And
in my
absolutely. You know, speaking of Ricochet, lately I've been kind of going down the rabbit hole and looking at some of Lucha Underground and seeing him in the Prince Puma days. Man, that is some great stuff. If
man.
you haven't had a chance to see it,
Lucha Underground seems like a fever dream now. Like the fact that it was just like so hot for that period of time and then it just gone. And I was like, well, what am I supposed to do now? Like this
yeah,
was like wrestling that I haven't seen before, and I was loving it because it was like people I knew, but completely different. And it was like Prince Puma. What is this? I fell in love with Ricochet all over again, and then
yep,
I was just having this conversation the other day. If he does pop back up on the Indies or pop up in another company, will it be like Ricochet, or will it be Prince Puma? Because Prince Puma as a luchador is, he's one of the best already. Lucha, like, and when it comes to like working that like high flying like lucha style and stuff, like it was something about the fluidity of it, and Ricochet like specifically makes it look so effortless. Like
He does.
he makes it look like it was just, oh, you can't do this. I thought everybody could. Like he moves like a action figure. He moves like a video game character.
He
And
does.
it's like who's controlling him?
Yep. Yep.
It's insanity.
It is. It
My
is.
body doesn't move like
So,
that. Try.
so Dre, at what point in your life did you know that you wanted to try to make a go of this?
So initially, when I was about, I'd say I was about 7 or 8, my cousin gave me a pedigree in the middle of the living room, and I was like, you know what? I'm tired of getting hurt for free. I'd rather get paid for this one day. And that was like the first initial thought. But like, obviously growing up watching wrestling and stuff with my cousins specifically had like all the video games. So like we would play those, and like that's where like my first introduction came. And we spent so much money on the game, so much money on the action figures and stuff like that, until like I'd say about like 9 and 10, they found out that, oh, you telling me that the Undertaker and Kane aren't really brothers? Man, this is fake. I'm not watching this no more. And I was like, wait, so you telling me they had us believing for so long? That made me so much more invested, because I was like, I have to know how they made me believe that this was real, what I was seeing. And like the theatrics and the spectacle, and like I've always been a natural born entertainer. I've never been shy. I've always loved the spotlight. And anytime someone has given me an opportunity to, be in the spotlight, I've taken it. And I've always wanted to be in the biggest spotlight that I've always seen in my head, a professional wrestler. And like I've like I said, I've made the final, like the ultimate decision to make this a reality when I was 20 years old. I was a semester into college, and it was like, nah, this is, I don't really, I'm wasting money and time here. I don't think I really want to do this. I'd rather put my efforts into, you know something I'm passionate about. Which, I mean, on top of being a pro wrestler for the last 11 years, I've been running my own business as a like, I customize shoes, book bags, purses, wallets, jackets. My slogan is, "You name it, I paint it." I can paint just about anything on just about anything. So I invested a lot of time into growing my brand as Toy Box Kicks for
Hmm.
a while, and then it was like, yeah, this is cool and all, but like, I want to be seen. Like, yeah, my work, people seeing my work is cool and all, but I want my face and likeness and my image and the way I move, the way I talk, and everything I do to be my business. Essentially, I already have one business as an entrepreneur. I want to be a independent contractor, and all of it just intrigued me to the point where it was like, I don't care what I have to do. I don't care who helps me or who doesn't. I'm gonna make this happen. And I
And
think
you're doing it.
I look, my trainer Ethan Case tells me regularly. He doesn't fail to tell any of us that, like, it's so night and day different from when he started training, when he was like first started wrestling and stuff, to where we are now. Because it blows his mind that in year one, like, I'm not even done with year one, and I'm at match number 29. He's like, it blows my mind, because he was like at like 120 something, but he always preaches to us quality over quantity. A lot of those shows that he worked a lot, like, a while back, he was taking a loss, like, monetarily. He was getting hurt, and like, it wasn't he wasn't getting anywhere from it. It was just a bunch of, pardon my language, shit shows. But he tells us like, the opportunities that we get now is just like completely mind-boggling to him, because not only do we get paid, but we're allowed to sell, like we sell merch and sell it like
Hmm.
consistently. Not only that, we're getting like looks from bigger companies. Like the opportunities of getting signed and going places are like very real. And I'm just very grateful that like I was able to find, you know, where I was at. I don't think I could think of another moment in my life that like I could say, yeah, no, that's probably the greatest moment, other than finding the PWA. Because like touching just touching the ring when I first got there, the day one, I was like, well, dream fulfilled. I can go home now. I was like, this is real.
So, away from wrestling, what are some of your other hobbies and interests? I mean, I know you've got toy box kicks that you're
Mhm.
working on a lot, but what are you? What other interests and hobbies do you have?
All right, so I have been a very DIY person for like a long time. I make a lot of different crafts and stuff. Like it's weird because like I started out making duct tape wallets in middle school, and then like
Hmm?
next thing you know, I'm making like catapults out of popsicle sticks and plastic spoons. So like I do stuff like that occasionally, other than like, artwork. I'm always painting, I'm always doing stuff like that. I play video games, but I usually only play like multiplayer games if I'm playing with someone, because like
Hmm.
I usually play fighting games, specifically Tekken. Tekken is my game. Tekken is usually my game, or Smash Bros. Anybody who want to play me in that, you can look me up. We can get it going. Yeah, I tell anybody that. But yeah, that's other than video games. I'm very active. I'm not sitting still for too long. I always find a way to start moving and going to go do something, whether it go be play basketball or go swimming or go climb something. I'm very spontaneous. I don't know. I'm a jack of all trades, really. Like if you ask, you can ask Florida Man, you can ask Jake Parker, TJ Era, DPJ, all of them that I've known for like the last 3 years and stuff like that. They know that like I do everything. Like if you name it, I've probably experienced it a little bit or know a little bit about it or have done it for a long time. Like it's always a one end of the spectrum thing.
Got you. Got you. So, speed round.
All
Joe
right.
Hendry.
Believe.
Yeah, man, he is on fire right now.
Honestly, I'm when I saw that he was coming to Georgia for Viral Pro, and I was like, "What? He's everywhere. He's going everywhere." Like I was like, "Okay." I saw him in TNA, and then next thing you know, he's popping up in WWE. I'm like, "Okay, so this dude, he's doing it right." Because like like just like the Sandman, just like how I feel about Sandman and New Jack, I loved both of them just because of the aura that they brought, and just like the entrance alone, it was like I don't even care what wrestling moves you do. I'm here. You don't even have to do a wrestling move for real. You could just hit somebody with something, or you could not do anything. Same Santino Morella for that matter. His like character was just so compelling. It was like I don't care if he wins or not. I'm entertained. Joe
Oh yeah.
Hendry has Joe Hendry's figured out a formula for success, and it is proven itself time and time for him.
Yep. He has the cheat code for going viral.
Literally every time he's got the Midas touch. Everything he touched turns
Yep.
to gold at this point.
Yep. 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 So,
And
Dre,
it
what is your home? Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say like and like having that extra thing like when it comes to wrestling, having that like thing that you can do outside of wrestling. Like he plays music in real life,
Yeah.
and like he's good at it, and he's used that to his advantage in wrestling. I mean, I paint and do stuff like that. I also am a martial artist of 19 years, 9 different styles, but it's a bunch of martial artists. Yeah, that's cool and all. I paint and do my own gear, but like he's got it. He's got it down pat with the music and stuff like that. Because everybody loves a good tune. Everybody loves to tap their feet.
Oh yeah.
Everybody loves to dance, sing along, everything. Like his entrance alone is like infectious. You
Mm-hmm.
hear if somebody hears the first 2 beats of it, they're gonna clap when it's time to clap.
Oh yeah. You know, what I love are the videos where he comes out with a song mocking his opponent and
Almost definitely.
watching the opponent trying not to break character and bust out laughing. You know, that's
Specifically, there was one that Raylan Albee he had showed me. He's another one of the PWA guys. He had showed me this one. It was back in TNA. He did one on Top Dollar, and he was doing AJ Styles' old
oh
theme
yeah.
song. It was like, you are banned from diving," and I just could. I was like, I'm so glad I'm not in the ring because I would have broke. I would
Oh
have
yeah.
started laughing at myself.
Absolutely. So Dre, what is your actual hometown?
So I was born in Greenville, South Carolina, Greenville Memorial Hospital. Uh, I was raised. I'd say my that was around like I think Taylor's. Greenville County is a pretty big place. So there's a bunch of different like smaller little cities. Like I have family in Fountain Inn. I got family in Simpsonville, Taylor's, Greer, Travelers Rest, and everywhere in between. So like I'm from Greenville. Like I I've lived all over Greenville County for the most of my life, and I've lived in Columbia for about the same amount of time of that I've lived in Greenville, because my mom is originally from Greenville. My dad lived down here. My mom was originally from here. My dad was originally born in Louisiana. He was raised in Philadelphia, military brat, and he made it. They made their way, finally settled in Columbia of all places. Out of it, it's crazy to think that like they settled here when my uncle was born in Japan. They could have stayed in Japan. I could have been born in Japan, and I wouldn't have had to want to go to Japan later in life. But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I originally born in Greenville, but I claim Greenville and Columbia, but you know, South Carolina, 803-843-864. All I got family all over. Yeah, I claim it
Gotcha.
all. I've lived
Gotcha.
everywhere.
So what is your favorite thing about South Carolina?
Hmm. So I've lived here for 23 years, and I probably my grandma's house. My grandma's house is probably the best thing here because she's always got food. She's always nice to me, and she's always got it like at a moderately good temperature in the house. Like you never go in my grandma's house and be like, "Grandma, I'm hot." Like you'll never go in there and be like, "Grandma, I'm cold." It always feels just like somebody giving you a hug in there. It just feels nice. So honestly, I've been to a lot of places in South Carolina, and honestly, it's not really much of anything. Like, I mean, yeah, there's downtown Greenville in Greenville. There's the mall. There's Top Golf, and then that's about it. There's nothing. There's nothing else. Then you come to Columbia. We don't even have a mall anymore. We don't even have a mall. It's gone. All the stores are just disappearing, and we got a Frankie's Fun Park. And yeah, I think that's about it. Unless you want to go to Five Points, and you can do that in like 5 minutes. So yeah, my
Hmm.
grandma house. My grandma house is definitely the best place in South Carolina.
Awesome. I can tell you love her.
Most definitely. I don't know if she's watching this, but Grandma, if you is, how did you figure out how to log into this thing? Because I you surprised me. I had to show her how to make the letters on her phone screen bigger. So the fact that if she's able to figure out how to watch this thing, Grandma, I love you. I hope you're
That's
cooking us.
awesome. So, they say that the best wrestling personas are yourself turned up to 11.
Oh,
Um,
most
so,
definitely.
so tell me about Dre the Goat and compare and contrast him with everyday Dre.
All right, so I'm gonna tell you this. I had an entire note. I had like an entire notebook full of just names and different personas of different characters that I was gonna portray, and like all of these were like I was like, "Oh, this is pretty cool." Like all like I had a bunch of them just like all fleshed out and everything, and I was like, "Why would I play a character if like specifically the thought that came in my head was I could I couldn't play any other character as convincingly as I could play myself cuz all of the other characters that I had written down and created were just extensions of me. Like they were just extensions of things that I already do or things that I already did in my life. And I was like, I've been Dre the Goat since I was 15 years old, and I dubbed that I got that nickname. Well, so I have like 17 in counting. Like it's a long list. It I'm Dre the Goat, aka Mr. Drizzle, aka your mama's favorite son, aka your auntie's favorite nephew. Too hot to handle, too cold to hold. The game is to be sold, not told. That's the short version. I got spared you, but it's a long list. And I realistically, thought about New Jack. Anybody who tells you about New Jack, Jerome Young and New Jack are the same person. There's really no difference between Dre the Goat and my shoot name, DeAndre Williams. But there's really no difference between the two of us. Like, if you ask my mom right now, she'll tell you like, oh yeah, no, he's been doing this his whole life. He just finally decided to do it inside of a wrestling ring. Cause besides doing all the crazy acrobatics and reckless shenanigans, like I've never had a problem talking in front of people, talking to people. I was actually pretty good in theater class, even though I really didn't. I just didn't like my theater teacher. Theater class is pretty cool. I love theater class, and honestly, anybody who wants to become a pro wrestler, if you have the opportunity to get into any kind of theater or acting roles or live performance or any performance art, public speaking, it will help you because being able to talk gets you far more than just being able to wrestle. Words to
Absolutely.
word to Ethan Case. I've quoted Ethan Case a whole lot today. But Ethan is like my wrestling dad. Like it's crazy because specifically Tristan Moody, he refers to him as Ring Daddy. It's funny because he says it a lot.
Well, uh, Ethan deserves all of his flowers, man. I mean,
Almost definitely.
he has such a good reputation. I mean, anybody that I've talked to, I bring up the name Ethan Case, and people are just like, "Man, he is just the best." So
Exactly. And honestly, seeing that as the example for me and all of my other classmates, like that's the kind of like impact I want to have when I meet people at these shows. Like, because making those connections are what this should be about. Like, yes, you want to make the money and you want to be on the big stage. Yes, that is always the end goal. But like, you can do that and make those connections because the same way Jeff Hardy made me feel, like the same way Jeff Hardy had me cutting up socks and cutting flips off of stuff. I want to have kids out here getting sturdy and doing all that. I want to be somebody's inspiration one day. I want to be the action figure that they see and be like, "Ooh, mom, I want this one. I want a Dre the Goat action figure." Or when they played me on the video game, like, "Ooh, I'm Dre the Goat." I want to be that, and like that honestly means more to me than like any like monetary. I won't say that because if somebody gives me that gigantic contract, I'm gonna be like, yeah, but but no, it's definitely about making the connections and making the memories because that's gonna stick with you for life. Like I've had a bunch of like amazing fan interactions to the point where like I go to shows from Augusta, Georgia to Lexington, North Carolina and see the same familiar faces just because like they saw that I was gonna be on the show. And it's like I get choked celebrity. It happened to me. I had a celebrity moment one time in Walmart, and I honestly, I started fangirling. I don't know what happened. They came up to me like I was in the toy aisle looking at action figures, and they came up to me and was like, "Are you Dre the Goat?" And I was like, "Yeah." I showed up my chain. I was like, "Yes, yes, I am." And like I was just as excited as they were, and like that warmed my heart. I forgot what I was even in Walmart for after that.
That is awesome. So, do you have a preference yourself between working heel or babyface?
So I am like I'm naturally charismatic, and most of the time people naturally want to cheer me because I come out dancing and just high energy, and most people just
Whoops, looks like we lost Dre. Well, hopefully he'll be back in a minute. Um, in the meantime, we'll just uh, we'll just hope that he hope that he can make his way back in. This has been really great, and I've got a lot more I want to talk to him about. So hopefully we'll have him back. I'm messaging him right now. In the meantime, I'm going to take a look over at the yeah, we've got TJ Era over in the Instagram chat, and Cowboys over there as well. Yeah, hopefully we'll get Dre back. So while we're waiting to see if he's able to make his way back in, does anybody have any questions they would like to pose to Dre? If so, put them in the chat, and I'll try to include them. So let's see. Well, huh. not really sure. Not really sure what's going on here. Well, he is not responding on the message, so not really sure. Huh. Well, I can go ahead and tell you that the remainder of this week, I've got a full slate of wrestling related live streams coming up. Tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. I've got a live stream with a wrestler from Toronto, Canada, named Mr. Marvelous James Runyon. So I'll be live with him at 8:30 tomorrow night, and then on Wednesday at 7 p.m. I'm going to be live with Florida Man, and I know that's going to be a treat. I'm definitely looking forward to that. And then Thursday at 7 p.m. I'm going to be live with an Israeli-born wrestler named Tomer Sidi. And then Friday, I've actually got a double header. At 7 p.m., I'm going to be live with Smiley the Psycho Superman, who is a masked wrestler out of New York State. And then at 8:45 p.m., I'm going to be live with Ghetto Gear Solid, who are a renowned and well-traveled tag team. I actually saw them wrestle at the PWE show in Augusta a few weeks back, and they put on a heck of a show. So I'm definitely excited to talk to those guys. I haven't heard anything back from Dre, so not really sure what's going on there, but I will have to get Dre back on at another point, I guess, so we can finish this up. But anyway, for those of you that have been watching this live, sorry things kind of got cut short. But thank you for taking the time to watch this. And for those of you that are going to be watching this in a replay, thank you for that. If you like what we've got going here, definitely spread the word, and let's help this thing continue to grow. And like I said, I'll be back tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. And we'll go ahead and call it an evening, I guess.